What's going on, everybody? It's Caddy with Money Investing. So, what a beautiful day. I hope you guys are all having a really nice morning. If you guys can hear me, if you guys can see the screen okay, let me know in the live chat. We'll just get started here. So, what's going on, Jason? What's up? Jonas, welcome on board. Zafia, yes. Jay, what's up? How you doing? Echo? Is there echo? Can you guys hear me okay? What's up, Brandon? What's up, Izzat? What's up, Mimi? What's up, Yasin? Good morning, good morning. Let's do this. Let's do this. What's cooking? Excited to have everybody on board. So I'll be live for about maybe an hour, maybe an hour and a half. We'll see. No echo. All right, that's good. Good morning, good morning. Welcome on board. Michael, that's great. That's good to know. Welcome on board. So some people are saying that I am echoing. Is that right, or am I not? The audio should be working okay. I mean, you know, it shouldn't have any problems. Is it okay? No echo. All right. So some people are saying no echo. Some people are saying, all right, that's good. Good. Thank you. All right, perfect. Great. So this is the QQQs. We're down about over 1% right now. This is going to be the SPYs. We're down a little bit over 0.5%. So we are in the red potentially, but we are making some recovery. That's what I like about this, is that we are making some recovery. We are pushing higher, strong, higher lows. And, oh, okay. You had me up twice. All right, perfect. That's good. So SPY, and then of course having some recovery as well. Let's take a look at the yields. So the yields are up a little bit over 2%, pushing higher to 1.6 now. The markets are open, and crude oil is going to be at 65. So we are pulling back. We have come down a little bit. So yep, and this was Brent crude oil. So this was paying as $68 right now. So let me actually go ahead and add this as well. So UK oil, it's going to be this right here. Crystal clear. All right, awesome. You have your coffee ready. That's great to know. That's awesome. So we'll see where the markets, trade. I have a really strong feeling that we are going to potentially have some type of recovery and some type of buying pressure come in for the markets, because coming in from Friday's volume, it was really unique, because this is not something that's normal. It was, sometimes we've seen those bull traps occur. We've seen the markets kind of rally and then drop even harder, but Friday was a little bit different. I've said that in the morning lives, in the live stream earlier last night as well, when we were looking at the futures market. Low, yes, thank you for reminding me. I will be doing tutorials on fundamental analysis. In fact, if we hit 500 Patreons, thank you for reminding me that. So right now we have a little bit under 250 members in our Patreon, and I've actually put that on there. If we hit 500, so let me show you guys actually very quickly. So this right here is going to be what we have. So if we can get over 500, so right now we have 245, and once we get to 500, so this is going to be very important. So if you get to 500, free tutorials on fundamental and technical analysis I will be posting on our Patreon. So you'll get access to that. Again, free tutorials for TradingView, so complete TradingView tutorials, complete technical analysis tutorials, and fundamental analysis tutorials. These will be posted weekly to you guys for absolutely no cost, and all you have to do is be a part of our Patreon, for which the link is going to be down in the description below. So yes, I will be posting all these as well. Shout out to all of you guys. So thank you so much for joining in. Shout out to London Drill. Thank you so much for joining. Shout out to Carolinas. Oh, perfect. That's awesome. Welcome. Annabelle, thank you for joining in. So green day or red day? I think red start to the day, but we are potentially seeing a lot of buying pressure come in, and this right here, huge gap down for the SPYs. So actually, let me go ahead and make this full screen. So huge gap down, and we are seeing a lot of momentum come in. So we are pushing higher. So we'll see. Caddy stands for Karthik. Yes, Karthik is my full name. Zion, what's going on? XFang reported their earnings. Yes, let me take a look at where they're trading. I didn't get a chance to actually look at their earnings, but they're up 3%. They're up 3% pre-market. So I'm assuming they reported good earnings. Like people liked what they saw from the earnings, and that's what we're understanding from the Chinese market and from the EVs as well. And this is completely coming off of the whole market sell-off because of the higher multiples. Hunter, shout out to you. Thank you for joining in. Nice to be here. Nice to be here again. Thank you so much. Shout out to Philippines. Javier, thank you for joining in. Norwegia, thank you for joining. Shout out to Florida from watching from there. But yeah, Expand reporting their earnings. Let me actually see if I can find something on them really quickly. So, all right, so reports, earnings right here. Reports are mixed is what I'm hearing from that headline, but we'll see how well the company did. All right, so Wall Street expected loss of 12 cents. All right, so Chinese maker XPeng reported mixed 4-quarter earnings estimates on Monday, a week after rival NIO posted mixed report as well. All right, so Wall Street expected loss of 12 cents a share, revenue 411 million, results loss of 15 cents, they missed it by 1 cent, and revenues of 437 million. So they actually beat revenue. And this again, the EPS could be because of the dollar, because of the exchange rates, because that's what we've been seeing for NIO as well, right? So this is like, it's not even a big deal if they miss it by 1 cent. The revenues are up over 345% to $437 million. They reported selling 12,900 vehicles in Q4 2020, up 300% year over year. Let's take a look. It delivered a total number of 27,000 vehicles in 2020, up 112%. It makes P7 sedan rival made in China Tesla Model 3. By comparison, NIO sold 17,000 vehicles in Q4 and 43,000 for the year. Li Auto sold 14,000 in Q4 and 32,000 for the year. So again, NIO is of course one of the leaders in the Chinese EV market, but XPeng and Li Auto have their own advantages and their own strengths as well, right? So Li Auto, for example, is one of the companies that is profitable. I think they reported a profitable quarter. XPeng, Li, and NIO all reported February deliveries number last week were down significantly from January amid the New Year holiday in China. We know that there was like a 2-week vacation, which is why the February delivery numbers are down, but then they pick up in March, April, May, and then rest of the year. And of course, Q4 is going to be one of the strongest quarters as well. So again, thank you so much for joining in from Poland. Really appreciate that. We'll break down some other reports as well. I know there's a lot of companies reporting. This right here was a screenshot that we broke down from last night. So XPeng, we're breaking that down right now. We'll look at Shift Technology, Stitch Fix, and Car Parts as well. And then Skills. You think Skills report strong this week? We'll find out. I mean, they're reporting when? They're reporting on Wednesday, right? So Wednesday after the close is when Skills is reporting right here. So we'll see how they report. And then today we're just gonna break down XPeng and maybe Shift Technologies, but that's after the close. So we're not gonna get to that, after the market's closed. So there's not really much for us to go over pre-market. So this right here is really non-existent, unless you guys are interested in any of them. I mean, I'm not, but you guys let me know if there's anything that over here you guys are interested in. But right now we're only going to break down XPeng. They missed expectations when it came down to EPS by 1 cent. Revenue, they had it beat over 437 million. So shares did rise 1% early Monday. Initially they were sinking 4% after initially safe forwards launched a 50-day moving average. Blah, blah, boom, boom, boom. So let me see if I can actually go over to their website. All right, so let's see if we can actually find something more. All right, investors, financials. Let's take a look at their. All right, so it's not available yet. It's surprising because it was the same thing for NIO as well, because they didn't have it. They didn't make it available until a lot later. So all we really have is the news reports that are being published. Quarterly results, maybe something there. All right, so here it is. Okay, let's take a look at the full release. All right, so we already know. All right, delivery vehicles reached 12,900 in Q4, up 300%. We covered that earlier. I want to look at total revenues. All right, total revenues 437 million for the fourth quarter, but revenues from vehicle sales 419 million. So we're looking at close to 95%. No, I think they report pre-market, Yasin. I think this is what they reported, and this came out like today, actually very early. And Gross margins 7.4% for the fourth quarter 2020, compared with negative 6.6% for the same time last year. Vehicle margins grew to 6.8% for the fourth quarter 2020. Net loss at 120 million in the fourth quarter 2020. Net loss per 120 million, and then GAAP net loss 109 million, and then basic diluted EPS came at 16 cents per share. Cash and cash equivalents is sitting at just over $5 billion, looks like. So 5,416 million, so a little bit over 5 billion. And then NIO is sitting at well over $6.5 billion in cash. So this right here is going to be the full year. So full fiscal year 2020, and we'll kind of compare that with how they did with NIO as well. Skills is Wednesday, Philip. Yes, Skills is Wednesday, and AMC is reporting earnings as well. Mario, they're reporting I think on Thursday. So I think Wednesday. So they're reporting on Wednesday after the markets close right here. So that's going to be them. So for today, we only have XPeng as far as I know. If there's any other that you guys are watching that's not on the list, definitely let me know as well. But for the full year, 27,000 vehicles in fiscal year 2020, representing an increase of 112%. Deliveries of P7 reached 15,000 for fiscal year 2020. Total revenues came in just shy of 900 million. So what was it? I think... all right, so NIO reported just over $2 billion in revenues for the full fiscal year. Actually, let me see if I can bring that up really quickly. So for NIO, it was just a little bit over $2 billion, and then for Q4, it was just a little bit over $1 billion for revenues. And we're talking, so this right here was going to be NIO's earnings call. And you guys will notice this right here for the full fiscal year, NIO did just over 2.3 billion, actually 2.5 billion. So that right there is going to be the full fiscal year total revenues. Was 2.5, close to 2.5 billion, with 11.5% in gross margins and 12.7% vehicle margins. And we've got XPeng reporting revenues, total revenues 895, so close to 900 million, and then revenues from vehicle sales at close to 850 million, gross margins at 4.6%. So that's a little bit less. Compared with negative 24%, so that right there is a little bit less than NIO. And the net losses were at 418 million. So basic and diluted EPS came in at $2 per share for NIO, for XPeng, excuse me. All right, so deliveries for January and February. So February, total smart Eevee deliveries reached 6,000 units in January, representing a 470% increase year over year. And then total smart deliveries reached 2,223 units in February 2021. So that right there is going to be the delivery numbers for February. Again, we're seeing that downtick because of the Chinese holiday. Matt, what's up, my man? Thank you so much for joining in. Yes, guys, check out Matt's channel as well. He does a great job breaking down a lot of different stocks as well. And shout out to him as well. So again, thank you so much for joining, Matt. I really appreciate that. And so again, they represented a close to 1,200% increase year over year for XPeng. Again, the downtick because of the Chinese New Year. And then moving forward, March, April, May, and then Q4, of course, is going to be much, much stronger for XPeng and NIO and some of those other companies as well. So let's take a look at fourth quarter. So balance sheet, cash and cash equivalents, again, sitting at just over 5 billion. And for the full fiscal year, gross margins is the only thing that's kind of lower than what I would have expected, and vehicle margins also are 3.5% for fiscal year 2020 is quite low in my opinion. All right, so business outlook, deliveries for vehicles, approximately 12,500 vehicles in Q1 of 2020, and let's see what NIO guided us. So NIO guided us for... So Q1 fiscal year 2020, they guided us for 20,500. So, and my expectation for Q1 for NIO is at 20,250, and then these right here for the following quarters, considering the global chip shortage, and then for the full year just shy of 100,000, and then they're guiding us for almost exactly half what NIO is, so 12,500. Still a year-over-year increase for them, approximately 450%, and total revenues of just 2.6 billion RMBs. Representing a 531% year-over-year increase. So let's see how the stock is doing. So we're up a little bit over 4% now, pre-market as of the time of this video. Let's take a look at the 5-minute. Johnson, Disney, strong opinion. You know, it's a great company. I mean, with streaming and with tech aspect more getting added on to their actual business with the reopening of the theme parks, I think it's going to be a great solid company for both, like a reopening trade and also a work from home trade. And I think we're moving more towards reopening in general because of the mass distribution of vaccines. So I think they're going to do really well. So all right, let's take a look at how many people we have watching. So 623 people. Again, guys, make sure that you drop a like. It really helps out with the channel and the algorithm. Make sure that you subscribe also, trying to get to 50,000. So thank you so much again for your guys' support. I really appreciate that. So XBank again pushing higher up over 4%. Let's take a look at where SPY and Qs are trading. So look at that. SPY now almost in green territory, you guys, down about just 20 basis points. Let's take a look at Qs getting bought up over 70 basis points. So if you guys did get a chance, Daniel, welcome from Singapore, shout out to you. If you guys did get a chance to watch my other videos on the broader market indices, I want you guys to answer and be a little bit more engaged. What are our expectations from the markets moving forward, right? What are my price targets on the S&P and the Nasdaq, and why do I want you guys to be cautiously optimistic moving forward, right? What are my price targets, and where are we kind of hoping or predicting the markets will potentially go moving forward? So let me know in the comment section, then we'll break down kind of like individual stocks as well. But Kevin, what's going on? Shout out to Cali. Thank you for joining in. So again, thank you so much for joining, everybody. I really appreciate that. Jeff, we'll definitely consider that, doing like a morning show on the markets where we go over a lot of different things. So Palantir, I will cover in just a second. But first, what is our targets? What's our worst case targets for the S&P and the Nasdaq? What do you guys think? Good morning from Portugal. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate that. Kayum, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Hit the like button and subscribe, definitely. Thank you. So Weston, yep, you're absolutely right. QQQ at 297. That's the support that we need to watch for the Nasdaq. Nasdaq is going to be more at 11,800. So what I want you guys to do is be cautiously optimistic. Now, the only reason why cautiously optimistic is because on Friday it was quite unusual. The Nasdaq corrected itself 12% intraday. The S&P was down a little bit over 6% intraday. And then now we are seeing, Rita, you're absolutely right, 297 for the Qs and $380 for the S&P. Right now we are somewhat getting validated at 380. We gapped down, we pushed up, we pulled back to validate 380 once again pre-market, and we are pushing higher. So if I were to go over to this chart right here, the Qs, let's go over to the 5-minute chart. You'll notice that we are, again, potentially going to retest 309, right? That's the resistance. We are getting rejected, right? So much rejection at that level for the Qs. That's going to be the first barrier that we need to break out of, right? For the Qs, that's going to be $309, and now we're only down about 70 basis points. And then for the SPY, 380 getting validated, right? That's the level that we talked about. We came back down, a little bit over 379. We pushed out, retested 380 before pushing higher. So that's the level that we need to watch. And coming in from like Friday, this was a massive amount of volume coming in after we corrected all the way down here and then basically broke past 380. So once that happens, let's go over to the 30-minute chart. You'll notice that we pushed up. This right here, massive amount of volume coming in at $380 breakout. So usually what happens is, we sell off all the way down to this level for the SPY. We come down, we push up, we break out, and right now we are back testing that as a new support. So that's exactly why I'm kind of cautiously optimistic, thinking that we could see some more upside and potentially be on our way to recovery now, considering that the Nasdaq corrected 12%. The S&P didn't quite correct itself because of this chart. So the energy and financials have been pushing up substantially, right? So energy is up close to 31% pre-market. We're up another 74 basis points because of oil prices, right? We learned more about Saudi Arabia's attack, unfortunately, and then oil prices kind of spiking to over $70 per barrel. So if I were to bring that up here, let's bring that over to this side. So it's going to be UK oil. Brent crude oil is sitting at $69. So that's what's driving the energy and financials with respect to the 10-year yields that are up close to 1.23%. So yes, James, you're absolutely right. I think we need to consolidate before we push up. So that's going to be the biggest thing, is that we need some consolidation for the Nasdaq and the S&P for us to see any more upside potential. But hey, if they're continue to keep getting bought up, right? So the QQQ is now down only 67 basis points, and the SPY is basically down about 16 basis points. So we are seeing a lot of momentum for those stocks as well. So this right here, again, is going to be the pre-market situation for a lot of stocks that are now turning green. So GameStop up over, 10%. So we're trading as high as what, $154. AMC is up another 5.5%. We've got Riot blockchain up over 5%. Actually, let's take a look at where cryptos are trading. So this right here is going to be the cryptos, and Bitcoin is down slightly, down about 40 basis points, trading as low as 50,700. So moving forward, we got ZOM. A lot of people are interested in that one. I haven't really looked into this stock, so I will personally do some analysis on this to kind of understand what this company is all about. But they are up close to 4% pre-market. Shift Technology, they report after the markets closed today, and we are up right now close to 1.86%. So we'll see where they actually end up trading intraday. Carnival's up 1.6%. TJX is up. And then Target is up as well. ChargePoint is up close to 1% pre-market. PubMatic, Wells Fargo, Bank of America. We've got ExxonMobil, again, getting reflected by that increasing rise in oil prices. Chevron also up close to 55 basis points. JP Morgan, Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, Amazon. Amazon is slightly in the green. It's like up trading as high as $3,001. And then Visa, Delta Airlines are also in the green. But there's a lot of stocks that are still in the red, kind of struggling. But the good thing is that we don't have anything down more than 3.5%, close to 4%. So Tesla, wow, Tesla getting bought up. Look at this. Look at where we were trading, $558. We were trading all the way as low as $558, and so much volume coming in pre-market to basically push us higher to $589, $590. And then take a look at Apple. Like, it's down only about 1%, close to 120. Still getting validated to some extent. Like I mentioned, that 120 and then $117 is going to be the next support level. Again, we gapped down heavily. We are seeing some pre-market volume push up. AMD is down over 84 basis points. We are seeing a very similar pattern, gap down heavily, $75, and now we're trading at 79 or 77.90. Kumar, welcome on board. Glad to see you joining in. The futures are recovering slowly, yes, and I think that's good. I think that's good because a lot of people, and we're gonna break down a few articles as well, like we always do on some of the macros, talk about the economy, the labor market, taxes, bond market, so on and so forth, to get a more holistic view on the markets. But I think that's good that we're seeing this organic growth, right? Of course, stimulus has a pretty big thing, pretty sort of catalyst to do with it, which is potentially what could be driving the markets even further to sort of see some recovery. But you guys will notice, again, Square pushing higher. Square at one point was down substantially, trading as low as $204. So if you were to look at pre-market, and let me actually go ahead and bring up Square here. Wow, SPY now almost turning green. Guys, there's something about us just being live together. It's just every time we go live, the markets turn. And they turn to the green. It's just, it's crazy. So let's take a look at Square. So Square on the 5-minute chart, a lot of volume and a lot of buying pressure. So $204 to $214. That's a move of 5% pre-market. That's not a small gain like intraday when you're talking pre-market when the volume's already low. So yeah, I mean, look at that. SPY almost turning green here, down about 4 basis points, and the Qs down about 0.5%. We are seeing a lot of volume kind of kicking in as well. So for SPYs, you guys will notice 5 minutes. Like 5 minutes, you guys. All right, let me just actually bring out the calculator really quickly, so that we can understand how very, very basic level, what that volume looks like. So right now we're seeing 162,000 shares being traded. So we're talking 162,000 shares times the trade price at 383. We're talking about $62 million worth of SPYs being traded every 5 minutes, right? This is 162,000. Look at the volume bars, again, much higher than what we have seen in the past. And then in the past, 89,000 shares, 53,000 shares, 135,000 shares. This right here, 189,000, 170,000 shares. So, this could be a way for the markets to kind of price in like the stimulus, because that's almost getting passed. I think we have a vote on Tuesday, or maybe after the markets close today. I think we have that tonight, and it's a very high chance that it'll get passed. $1,400 check payments to Americans. And yes, very, very excited about that. You know, welcome from Singapore. Shout out to you as well. Thoughts on AMD? Strong company with the global chip shortage. I think it's going to do really, really well in the future. Very underappreciated to what it brings to the table, in my opinion, and very undervalued as well. I could easily see that stock over $100 per share, in my strong opinion. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if these these levels get dumped after the market's open, which is why cautiously optimistic. Again, we have potentially more downside. We'll see if that actually occurs or if that happens. But if I go over to the Nasdaq here. These right here are going to be some levels that we've been watching. So 11,800 all the way down here. But, I mentioned this right here, 16 or 12% correction from the highs. A little bit over 12%, and then we got bought up. So moving forward, again, 13,256 is going to be the level to watch today. And then 12,600 is going to be the level as a support. So keep a close eye intraday for the Nasdaq support right here. And then a resistance at close to 13,256. All right, so let's go back to our Webull. So we've got Palantir down about 71 basis points, getting bought up again, validating that 2235, 2240 levels. Even though the low was 2185, we are getting bought up once again, pushing higher. Shopify, Shopify anything under 1,000, it was trading as low as 1,010 or 1,078. Is now starting to push up higher once again. So it's a very similar pattern for a lot of stocks out there, for the individual stocks and for the broader markets. And if the markets open green and if you do see some buying pressure take place, I'll actually have to go ahead and change my thumbnail, because now the markets are pushing higher right now intraday, and we are potentially turning green. So that's good for the markets. But what do you guys want to see in the markets today? Do you guys want to see consolidation, or do you want to see a rally? Of course, none of us would prefer seeing any type of drops unless you are looking to add more to your positions or see them as really good buying opportunities. But what do you guys are looking forward to? Andrew, what's up? Let's take a look. If stocks are rising on the news or markets rise on stimulus get approved, otherwise it's market slide as inflationary fears arise. Yeah, I mean, it's all about the narrative. It's all about controlling the narrative, right? It's the media. And it's all about controlling the narrative, and how they kind of write those articles and kind of word them is very, very important. But what do you guys are looking forward to? Are you guys waiting for some consolidation on the day? Do you guys want consolidation on the day, or do you guys want a rally on the day? What do you guys want today on the day? Let me know in the live chat. Consolidation. So consolidation is basically the market trading sideways, some type of a horizontal pattern. Not so much selling off, but so a lot of consolidation and stability. So yes, Sarah, you're absolutely right. Stability is good. Consolidation, yes. All right, let's take a look at Tesla right now and where it's trading. So Tesla down about 1.3%, trading as low as 590. There's two support levels I mentioned in the Discord. And again, if you guys want access to all that, the Patreon link is going to be down in the description below. But I mentioned 600 all the way as low as 550. That was a support level number 2 from last night as well when we were talking about the futures market. 550 was a support. We pre-market tested as low as 558 before getting bought up. So intraday, I want you guys to remember 600 as the new resistance and 550 as a new support. We'll see if those levels continue to get validated, or if we are going to see any type of a selling pressure come in for the broader markets. So very, very excited about that as well. Let's take a look at if there's anything going on Bloomberg. If there's any news going on. Today is Monday, right? Today is Monday. Yeah, today's Monday. So there's not really much news that's coming out. The unemployment numbers come out Thursday. We don't have anything related to retail or the labor market. I think it's only the stimulus that we're going to look forward to, right? Let's take a look at NIO. So 30 at 50 is going to now be the next sort of resistance that we need to watch for NIO. $30 is going to potentially be the next support all the way down here. Expect a lot of volatility, a lot of consolidation between that range. All right, let's take a look at this.
All mind controls.
Excess cash will be used in the economy.
Economy reopens, you naturally will get a big jump in job creation in those categories.
So that's another thing that we had discussed in my other videos, right? So this right here was the article that we were talking about. Well, not this article, but something else. So first of all, let's take a look at. So this right here. Consumers saved $2.9 trillion during the pandemic. Their money will drive the global recovery. And this is country by country, right? We're talking about savings to splurge. Lockdown barriers to spending combined with stimulus boost income levels have left consumers with a massive pent-up savings. In the US, we're talking close to $1.2 trillion, close to 1.5 estimated as of Q4. UK, we're talking about 117 billion pounds. Japan, we're talking about 32.6 trillion Japanese wons. Germany, France, we're talking 125, close to 140 billion euros. China, we're talking 2.8 trillion Chinese wons. Spain and Italy, we're also talking roughly 54, 66 billion euros. So such savings should provide fuel for economies to rebound once the pandemic finally wrestled under control and as the vaccines roll out. The optimists are betting on a shopping spree as people return to retailers, restaurants, entertainment venues, tourist hotspots, and sports events, as well as accelerate those big ticket purchases they held back on. Those who are less confident wonder if the money will instead be used to cover debts or hoard it until the health crisis pass and labor market looks stronger. So which one of the two you guys think is going to be the case? Are we going to see like this shopping spree where people go out and spend a lot on restaurants, retailers, entertainment, or do you think there's going to be a shift in consumer behavior and people are going to kind of hold back, be a little bit more frugal, pay off the debt, and not really spend as much money? What do you guys think? Because one of the two is going to be really important for the economic recovery. Because like it says here, by contrast, if the savings go unspent, the economy will likely grow just 2.2%. But if they actually spend money, the economic growth can be as much as 9% rather than 4.6% currently projected for 2021. So what do you guys think? Is it going to be a lot of shopping spree and a lot of splurge on retailers, restaurants, entertainment, or if we're going to see more of a frugal nature, consumer behavior kind of shifting moving forward? Shift in behavior, says Cciv. In Germany, they will spend the money. That's good to know. And yeah, if you are kind of joining in from these sort of countries, US, UK, Germany, France, anywhere from here, let us know what the consumer behavior is going to look like in that area, right? Are we going to see some type of spending? Or are we going to see more like covering the debts? Not so much as well for reopening. Everything doesn't mean reopening at 100%. 50-50, but not as much before due to the uncertainty. Selling some of the Tesla. Travel, vacation. 25% will spend, 75% can't and won't. Travel is going to pulse, oil. I think they will be more frugal. So alright, so we have a little bit of a mixed feeling. This right here, 1.5 trillion reasons to spend. Lockdowns combined with stimulus means US household saving has risen to above the trend. So again, a lot of excess savings at close to 1.5 trillion dollars. The US is not alone, enjoying a cushion. Again, Chinese households close to 430 billion more into their bank accounts than previously. Then we've got similar deposits rose to 300 billion in Japan, 160 billion dollars in the UK. So a lot of other countries are also kind of following suit with the pent-up savings. All right, so let's take a look at some of the other. So central bank faces jumpy bond market within 10 days. So this was also another really, really interesting article. So Powell, again, we've got the Fed meeting again. So Fed's policy meeting on March 16th and 17th. So not this week, but next week we're going to see another meeting from Chairman Jerome Powell. Will likely reaffirm his looser for longer stance. Powell repeatedly stressed during remarks on Thursday when we had the Wall Street Journal webinar that Fed was a long way away from its goal and was not close to tightening the policy. He also played down a likely rise in inflation this year and ducked questions on a possible response to the recent sharp rise in yield. So he really didn't answer that. And I did watch that, and it became quite repetitive after a while because he was kind of addressing a very similar situation in a different way. Good morning, Daniel. Thank you for joining in from Denmark. Really appreciate that. While the move had caught his attention, he said Fed policy was currently appropriate, though it has tools to respond if there is material change in the outlook. And right, so everything else I think is very normal. We have discussed that in the past as well. Let's take a look at where the markets are trading. So again, we are pushing higher. SPYs now down only 11 basis points. The Q is down only 77 basis points. And that's coming in even after the yields, right? So if you were to look at the main watch list, and let's go over to the yields, you guys will notice that we are up over 2%. We're trading all the way as high as 1.6, and that's not actually having any type of an effect on the equities market right now. So that's interesting, right? Yes, every time he speaks, the markets does drop. That's not always the case, but it has been the case more recently. So I agree. Yeah, it's been quite unfortunate that every time he has been spoken, the markets have pulled back. So for NIO, keep a close eye inside this green rectangle, kind of like an area of demand. Actually, that's Tesla. So for Tesla, keep a close eye in between this green rectangle as an area of demand again. 615 or close to $600 is going to be the next sort of resistance to watch for Tesla moving forward. We kind of closed below that support, so that's why I'm kind of really interested to find out how well the company does. Now we're down only 1%. Pre-market, we were down a little bit of 5%, right? All right, let's take a look at this news that Brandon just brought up. If you can find anything, Tesla. What is it? Tesla news of the battery supply in Texas. So 20 minutes ago. So all right, let's take a look at this. Thanks, Brandon, by the way, for bringing that up. Tesla's making a giant battery to plug into the Texas power grid, and it could store enough energy for 20,000 homes. Is building a giant 100 megawatt battery to plug into Texas power grid. Wow, that's going to be actually really, really beneficial. And Elon Musk has also mentioned, like in the past, that their energy business is going to dwarf their Eevee business. So again, it's going to be very, very interesting to find out. And I was having this conversation with somebody else the other day as well, because when you look at all these gigafactories and the scalability and the production capacity for all these different factories around the world, we've got one in Berlin, Shanghai, Fremont, Texas. Not a gigafactory in India, but there's also manufacturing plants getting built in India. Energy is going to be big part of Tesla's future. I feel like it's going to be, apart from autonomous driving, software, insurance, I think energy is going to be really, really big. What do you guys think? You guys think energy is going to be bigger than electric vehicles for Tesla? Yes or no? Let me know in the live stream if you guys think Tesla's energy business is going to be much bigger than their EV business, or if you think their autonomous is going to be the biggest segment of what they can do in the future. No, yes, energy is big. So Tesla's making a giant battery to plug into Tesla's power grid. It's the whole ecosystem. I agree with that. Developing battery energy storage project in Brazoria County, Texas. So the battery is set to charge from the grid when energy prices are low, and then discharge when the electric system has a shortage of energy. The battery could help the local electric system come back online by providing energy to jumpstart electric generators during blackout or natural disasters. All right, that's actually really interesting. Tesla now down only 71 basis points. NIO, I think, is going to be down a little bit more than that, down a little bit over 2.7%. For the markets. The 10-year yields again up a little bit of 2%. We've got U.S. oil trading as low as $65. And then Brent also down about 82 basis points. So I'm excited to actually see where this chart ends up, right? This is all the select sectors, and I'm really excited to find out, a month from now, 2 months from now, where are these going to end up, right? So energy up over 30% right now, year to date. Let's take a look at year to dates are up over 39-40%. Financials up over 14%. So that's going to be really interesting to see, if any of these sectors down below, like tech, and we've got utilities and materials, real estate, consumer discretionary, which has Amazon and Tesla in there, if they see any type of an upward bias or some more momentum to the top. BNGO up almost 8% pre-market. That's fantastic. Let's take a look at BNGO. So Bio-Nanogenomics, was this pre-market? Yes, it was. So we sold off all the way down to this level, and now we are pushing higher. So intraday, keep a close eye at 7. So this was the pre-market candle. This is where we opened. Keep a close eye at $7 if anybody's who's watching BNGO. K Kim, thank you so much again. Thank you so much for joining. Please make sure that you drop a like. Let's take a look at how many people we have. So 1,067, guys, make sure that you drop a like. Let's see if we can get up to at least 400 likes, right? So for BNGO, if you are trading or investing in this company, $7 would be the support level to watch moving forward, and a breakout over 850 is going to be very critical for the stock moving forward, because there is a lot of resistance at that level. Previously recorded right here, so we got rejected before having a breakout to the upside. So that right there would be the level to watch, kind of aligned with those moving averages as well. That's a great question about the chip shortage in the 3D sector. I'm not following any 3D companies, unfortunately. Nano Dimensions is probably going to be the only company that I've actually looked into, but it's going to affect almost every industry that has a lot to do with electronics, industrial parts, manufacturing. The chip shortage is like a global issue, right? It's going to affect a lot of sectors in general. So I think a lot of companies are going to be affected by it, but it just depends on how much stock the company already has. Because I know there were a lot of companies back in 2020, especially in the automotive sector, that had a lot of chips available to them, and since the demand was so low, they made it work with everything that they had in stock, right? For however much they had in store. But once demand kind of exceeded and their supplies kind of went lower, that's when we saw this imbalance between the demand and supply, right? So very important that we kind of resolve this chip shortage. Otherwise, we are going to see some more pain for those companies, right? Tesla and NIO are one of the big ones that are getting hit the hardest because of how much negative catalyst we are seeing in the markets right now. So let's take a look at some of the stocks. So Tesla pushing higher. ChargePoint up over 6%. There's a lot of volume coming in for ChargePoint as well. Yes, I completely agree. I didn't sell anything either last week either. In fact, I've been buying the last month. It's like literally throwing your money into a fire pit when the markets are selling off aggressively. But we had a really good conversation last night when the futures market were open. We talked about a lot of different things. We talked about the global chip shortage. We talked about the VIX. We talked about a lot of different interesting fundamentals and valuations, and it was just really fun last night. It was a 2-hour live stream. I would highly encourage you guys to watch. This is kind of like my forecast, worst case scenario. This is not the best case. It's not like what I'm expecting, but this is my worst case scenario. I see the VIX getting topped out at 40, yields at 2%, the Nasdaq bottoming out at 11,800, and the S&P bottoming out at 3,500. So the only thing that's down quite a bit is going to be Social Capital, ticker symbol IPOE, down a little bit over 4%. But we are seeing some type of recovery intraday for almost all the stocks right now. And the SPY is almost turning positive here. We're down just about 2 basis points, and the Qs are down just about 62 basis points. We'll see if we see any type of a reversal here before the markets open. There's only going to be about 30 minutes till the markets open today. So actually, let's take a look at when Friday is. So March 19th, next week is going to be quad witching. That's going to be for Q1. It's going to be the first Friday, or it's going to be the third Friday of the first quarter for the month of March. So we'll see a lot of options contracts. We'll see a lot of futures contract kind of roll over and expire at the same time. So we'll probably, Eli, what's going on? Thank you for joining. I really appreciate that. Happy to have you on board. So next Friday, not this Friday, but the next Friday is going to be quadruple witching. So we'll potentially see some more volatility. And let's take a look at T-vol index. That's going to be my alternative sort of watch list. And if I were to bring up this is going to be T-vol, right? Let's go over to the monthlies. Actually, let me not go over to this. Let me go over to this one. So total volume. So you'll notice that total volume does usually spike on the third Friday of Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. So those are going to be months of March, and then April, May, June, March, June, and then we've got one in October, and then one in December, or June, July, August. So yeah, one in every single quarter, third Friday. So this is going to be September, excuse me. So September and then December. So the volume usually spikes. So I could expect the volume again close to three. What is it? Whatever that number is. Let's talk about workhorse, but keep a close eye on that quadruple witching, not this Friday, but next Friday as well. It was down a little bit over 5%. Let's take a look at the Eevee sector watch list. It was down with the Li Auto and CCIV kind of staying up there, flat, but NIO was down 3% as of Friday. Tesla was down a little bit over 3.78. XPeng down over 4.5. Workhorse down over 5. Lordstown Motors was down over 5.7. Hyliion down over 6.7. Nikola was down over 7%. So the entire EV market also struggling a lot, right? So $14, is going to be the support level to watch for Workhorse right now. This is a level that we have kind of gotten validated at consistently. So this is coming in from June, July of 2020. A lot of support at that level for Workhorse before pushing higher, right? So that's going to be the level to watch moving forward as well. And we'll see. I mean, right now we are trading slightly below $14. I would prefer for Workhorse to open above 14 and kind of validate that level. But again, depends heavily on where the markets are going to go. Let's talk about CCIV. CCIV, you guys will notice, is still validating that $21 level, something that we have discussed in our previous live streams. $21 is going to continue to be the support. Noah's, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. So $21 would be the level to watch for anyone who's interested in CCIV. That's a really strong support. And right now we're down a little bit over 2% pre-market, trading as low as 23.75. So intraday, expect CCIV to kind of validate that $21 level, even though we were trading as low as $20.40. And again, intraday, if the patterns do break out certain support levels, resistance levels, that's okay. Like, because of how much bigger the spreads are for Amazon. For Amazon, if I mentioned $3,000 support, but the Amazon trading at $3,000, the spreads are much higher. It's okay for the stock to trade as low as $29.50, $29.80. It really depends on where it ends up closing the day, right? That's what we look at, is where the candles actually closed. So $21 would be for CCIV, and the resistance it needs to break out of is going to be at $27 per share. That's going to be the level for CCIV, kind of aligned with this previous resistance. We got rejected coming in from January 25th. So this right here was a level. And then that's also going to be aligned with that 50 exponential moving average. So the 50-day moving average on the daily chart you guys see right here. So that right there would be the first level of resistance that CCIV needs to break out of, and then validate $21 consistently as well. So all right, let's take a look at Tesla. So Tesla already kind of validating 540. 540 would be a very, very important level to watch, kind of like all the way down here. And then this right here is going to turn into, so right there, and this right here is going to turn into some type of a resistance that we need to break out of moving forward. So it's got a lot of resistance levels right now because we are trading, for Tesla, we are trading below those levels, and it's been so weak, right? The MACD and the RSI, it's absolutely incredible. The RSI trading as low as 29. The MACD has also been aggressive selling off as well. One fast, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for joining. Cole, what's going on? Shout out to you for joining. Raj, we'll cover Shopify in just a second. But for Tesla, keep a close eye at 550. That's going to be the first level to watch as a support. And a lot of companies and a lot of stocks, a lot of indices also form some type of an inverted hammer candle. Ooh, look at that. Look at where we are, guys. So SPY up over 10 basis points in the green. So much volume coming in for the Qs. We are seeing a lot of momentum come in. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Comment with the green dot emoji or a red dot emoji on where you think we're going to close. Are we going to close red or are we going to close green? Because we are pushing higher for both the S&P and the Nasdaq. Do you guys think we're going to close green or red on the day? Just comment with the emoji, the green dot or the red dot. It becomes much easier for everyone to see. We'll cover Palantir in just a second. So green, red. We'll see. I mean, there's a lot of volume coming in. It's not like, it's not like. So let's take a look at individual stocks as well. I mean, they could potentially be turning green. Look at that. Pre-market, we're just pushing higher. So Palantir is down a little bit over 79 basis points, so not really much of a change there. So a lot of stocks, a lot of companies right now are basically just either down close to 1% or 0.5%. So that's the interesting stuff right there. Look, we're happy with either day, right? Even if there's blood out there, even if there's like a lot of red, a lot of weakness, a lot of selling pressure, I'll still be over here smiling and letting you guys know that this is a great buying opportunity, regardless of where the markets are trading. Of course, you have to consider the valuations and the price points as well to make a more logical decision. But in general, when the markets are red, there's a lot of opportunities out there, especially for a lot of stocks that you guys really want to invest in, right? You guys may have a lot of stocks on your watch list, right? Go through them. Go through those stocks and take a look at what stocks are trading at specific prices that you're comfortable with. So, all right, let's take a look at how many people we have watching. So 1,200. Again, make sure that you guys drop a like. Let's see if we can get to at least 400. We're 50 people away from that. And let's take a look at if there's anything going on at Bloomberg and why we're seeing such a massive push. 30 minutes left for the markets to open. So very, very excited about that.
The work called.
All right, so let's take a look. It's probably going to be at the open.
On the block that the market will have to supply. It was just about 2 weeks ago that we saw that pretty ugly 7-year auction, the lowest ever bid to cover ratio, and that is what really pushed for the first time 10-year nominal yields above 160 in that flash crash like move. At the same time though, when we think about the read across to the equity market, yes, this is not good for growth. This is not good for tech. However, this is good for cyclical parts of the equity market. For example, banks. And if you actually look at a ratio of S&P 500 banks versus the S&P 500 versus 10-year treasury yields, they have tracked pretty closely together. Now, banks are up 20% year to date, but when you think about what this means for the benchmarks at large, only making up 4.5% of the S&P 500, that doesn't mean it's really going to help on the way up, John.
Sarah, that's the story. Sarah, thank you. Sarah mentioning the supply later this week. Here are the numbers for you, just briefly. $38 billion of 10-year notes coming Wednesday. On Thursday, $24 billion of 30-year bonds. In the equity market this morning, came into work 5 a.m. Eastern. This market was down and down hard. Equity futures on the Nasdaq off by more than 2%. We recover as we inch towards the open. For more, it's Kaylee.
Well, John, yeah, the Nasdaq 100 futures are only down about 0.3% right now. So we will see if at the cash open in just under half an hour's time, there is some follow-through buying from the rally we saw on Friday. But of course, it has been profit taking, not dip buying, that has won out in big tech in recent weeks, driving the ratio of the Nasdaq to the S&P 500 off of its highest since the dot-com bubble. It really comes down to the valuation question, John. The Nasdaq 100 trades at a forward PE multiple of about 27. That's off its most recent peak, but still elevated relative to history. And the justification given for that for a long time was ultra-low borrowing costs. As those borrowing costs move higher, that equation starts to change. Plus, you have to layer on the fact that the primary driver behind the higher move in yields has been expectations for growth and a reopening economy. And that could mean the growth for some of these tech companies that they experienced in the stay-at-home world is going to start to slow down. It is these dynamics that have driven shares of the likes of Apple and Amazon lower by about 10% over just the last month. But perhaps no fall from grace has been quite as extreme as for Tesla, down 30% over that time. It has erased $234 billion in market value over just the past 4 weeks. No surprise, given such a steep move between early February and early March. It has also given back all of its gains for the year. Tesla now down 15% so far in 2021 after a gain of nearly 800% in 2020. Apple and Amazon also down around 8% on a year-to-date basis as those momentum trades have unwound in quite dramatic fashion, John.
Kelly, thank you. Worth reiterating it. Those three names, a quarter of the index, just unreal. A quarter of the
index.
100.
Quarter of the Nasdaq.
Good news is good news for who? Good news is bad news for who? And it's good news, bad news for this market more broadly. Oksana Aronoff joining us now of JP Morgan Asset Management. So Oksana, let's start there. Just a brief, broad comment from me. Is good news bad news for financial markets?
Good news is bad news for continued support of the financial markets, right? In other words, we have, many investors have staked their relationship with the market on continued support from the central bank. But if there are good news, then the question of course arises, how long will the central banks continue to support markets and continue to support current valuations? Good news is certainly not good news for bonds specifically. And I think this prevailing rhetoric that stronger growth is going to translate to better credit opportunities is definitely not going to be particularly great for credit here, because credit's already marked for perfection, frankly. So it's unclear how it can possibly deliver strong returns, even if this good news around the economy continues.
You've maintained a really high cash position, a liquidity cushion, Oksana, in your portfolio. What are you waiting for? What are you anticipating, if anything?
So we are strong believers in fundamentals-driven investing, and we're strong believers in being compensated for the risk when you are investing capital in the markets. And it is completely not the case at this point that you are compensated for the risk when you are putting money to work in this market, because even when you look at some of the more speculative areas of the market, you're not compensated for the default prospects that you would expect to materialize there. And by the way, I also don't think that the default forecast of sub 2% will be on track this year. I think we're going to see more than that as some of these more zombified players start to struggle in a higher interest rate environment.
So Oksana, anticipated default rates that I've been looking at have been trending lower. You clearly think they start to climb again. Can you walk me through? So
they basically have a pretty big cash cushion right now. JP Morgan Asset Management does, and that's basically because of their fundamental overview of the markets, and the risk reward is kind of skewed in their opinion. And we also talked about the valuations. Nasdaq 100 trading at a forward PE of 27. That's a little bit high on their estimate. But we really have to understand, like Amazon, Tesla, Apple down so much, and the forward PE has kind of been suppressed from those all-time highs, and now it's sitting at forward PE of 27, which is still, in their opinion, a little bit overvalued. So, we'll see. Of course, interest rates going up reduces that cost of borrowing, hence reduces future growth, hence reduces future cash flows, and creates a less desirable growth opportunities for companies, so to speak. And that's really what's driving the markets lower. But Q's down about 35 basis points. SPY already up in the green, up over 12 basis points pre-market. We've only got about 22 minutes for the markets to open. Brian, thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate you guys. And then NIO, you guys will notice we're down just about 1.2%, so that's good. Tesla down. Let's take a look. I feel like it's up a little bit. So, whoa, look at that. We're almost flat. We are getting bought up quite a bit. So let's take a look at Apple. So Apple is also potentially down about 0.5%. So we're still kind of making some type of a recovery. Let's take a look at Amazon. Amazon is up in the green, so we're up a little bit over 42 basis points. So we'll see where everything kind of plays out as soon as the markets open. So all right, this right here is going to be the pre-market for a lot of other stocks. Let's take a look at Boeing as well and where that's trading. So Boeing is pre-market up over 1%. We are getting bought up yet again. So all stocks, so a lot of them are turning green, and when we're talking about reds, it's not really anything that's down over 1.5, close to 2%. So we're still in like a pretty good shape. AMD is down about 43 basis points. Square a little bit more than that. Apple is also a little bit more than that. Lemonade down about 65 basis points. Snowflake, I'm not sure about the order book, Darren. I would have to look into that because I don't personally use Webull quite a lot. I mean, I just like their interface and how you can actually check out all the pre-markets all at once. But I personally don't use like their order flow or anything like that. Let's take a look at order book. So yeah, nothing there. So Snowflake is down about 0.5%, trading as low as 238. Nvidia now up in the green, so is Palantir. Validating Palantir, validating that 2250 level, right? That's going to be the level that we need to watch. Enphase Energy is also up. Riot is also up over 5% pre-market. That's a pretty big move, even after considering that cryptos are not moving all that much, right? So let's take a look at the cryptos market. Bitcoin is down about 30 basis points, so we'll see. Is this one big dead cat bounce? We'll see. I mean, this is interesting because the SPY and the Qs are just getting bought up. This could also be because of the stimulus. And in my opinion, you know, we've been talking about an 8 to 10% correction, 8 to 10% correction, 8 to 10% correction. Now it's here. We were down over 12% on Friday. Now, what can we expect from the markets, right? What is going to be something that's going to potentially lead to more dropping and more like rotation out of tech over to cyclicals and value? Because if you were to really think about it, you know, energy and financials leading the pack. In my opinion, you know, this is going to be somewhat short-lived, and we are going to see a rotation back into tech and growth in the future once we have those earnings kind of come in. CRMD, let's take a look. So what is that? Actually, I'm not going to go into this chart. I'm going to keep that here. I'm going to go over to this one. Wow. It's down quite a bit. I've never looked into this company, Ashwin. I'm more than happy to kind of map out the next support for you. But this is a pretty drastic drop of close to over 40%. Pharmaceutical, medical device company. So this was March 1st. I'm not sure if there was a catalyst on that day or what led to such a drastic drop. But on the daily chart, keep a close eye at that 200 simple moving average, which seems to be getting validated right now. Kind of aligned with this previous support, right? We have validated that level at close to 685. So that right there is going to be the support level to watch for you at close to $6.85. And you know, considering the RSI, the MACD incredibly oversold, so expect some consolidation sideways at that level for this stock as well. So that right there is going to be the support level to watch. All right. Let's take a look at Crowdstrike. So Crowdstrike also is a stock that I haven't really analyzed. By the way, if you guys want to get access to the technical analysis part, like all the trading view charts are going to be available. The link is going to be down in the description below if you want to join. And then once we get to 500, I'll be putting out fundamental and technical analysis tutorials for free and analysis on TradingView on how to use this platform. So for Crowdstrike, this has also been a pretty drastic drop from all-time highs of 251, close to over 32%. The support that I would be watching, if it does drop a little bit more, is going to be sitting at 153. Kind of aligned with that 200 SMA, previous resistance as well. A lot of resistance at that level in the past. So coming in from September and October, we got validated at that level before pushing higher. So even though we didn't retest that low, that's going to be probably like the worst case target if we do see any type of a weakness for the broader markets in general moving forward. So, and then the resistance to watch is going to be sitting put at close to this level, at close to 195 for Crowdstrike. And the reason again is very simple: previous support, all support levels. Once we broke down, we are potentially getting rejected at that level. And even the high for the day on Friday, you guys will notice, was 195, right? So we got rejected at that level, and we are potentially trading at 185. So that's going to be the range bound between Crowdstrike that we need to watch moving forward. Richard, we broke down Bank earnings. That was the first thing that we broke down. So if you want to go back on the live stream, watch that earnings. To give you a quick update, they reported a revenue of 437 million. They beat expectations on the top line revenues, but they missed EPS by 1 cent. So I think they reported net losses of 16 cents versus 15 cents. So for that as well. So Zach, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Again, you don't have to support. I really appreciate you as it is. But I really hope that your account recovers. I really hope everyone's account recovers and they all hit a new all-time high in the future. So I really genuinely hope that that happens to everybody watching the stream, is that the markets recover and we do see new all-time highs, potentially resulting in everyone's accounts also pushing higher. So for Bank, keep a close eye at 27.50. That's going to be the support level. We are up a little bit over 5.5% pre-market. Looks like the market investors did like in what they saw in the earnings report. Cash is sitting just shy of 5 billion. And then the resistance that it needs to break out of today is going to be $31 per share for Bank, Richard. All right, let's take a look at Palantir. So Palantir is, again, validating that 22.50 level. So that's right there is going to be the support, and then $25 is going to be the resistance. So again, we talked about it last night when the futures market were open. It's right now up just over 84 basis points, trading as high as 24.15. The resistance today to watch is going to be $25. Very, very important for Palantir to close above $25. That's going to be really interesting for us to see if Palantir can do that, because we've just been getting rejected at that level, right? So much rejection at $25 here. And then we can worry about $27. That's where the two moving averages are. But $22.50, so this right here, is going to be a really, really strong support level for Palantir as well. And then we've also broken it down from like a fundamental standpoint, right? And it was trading as low as $20 on Friday, right? So the low was pretty much there with a massive long wick and then forming an inverted hammer candle, which usually does represent some type of a trend reversal. So we'll see if that actually happens. NIO pushing higher, potentially retesting 38.50. So what's up, Mohit? Thank you for joining in. I really appreciate that. So yeah, thank you so much for joining in, guys. Let's take a look at how many people we have. For everybody new joining in, thank you so much for spending the time, spending the morning or the evening, depending on where you guys are watching from, with us for the market. The market's open in about 13 minutes, so we're gonna cover the SPY and the QQQ, and we're gonna build out some charts to watch the pre-market or the market open for them as well. So massive amount of volume. Look at this. Like this pre-market move for the SPY is over 1.36%. For the Qs, we're still off the highs from the other day. Like on Friday, we're down about 33 basis points. But this is again a move over 2% for the Qs, over 1.36% for the SPY. Could potentially be as a result of the stimulus getting priced in from over the weekend. We saw some pretty great news, but I'm surprised why it wasn't priced in on the futures market that we checked out last night, if it was going to get priced in general, right? So what do you think? Why are we seeing this type of a move pre-market? Let me know in the live chat. Is this a bull trap? Is this stimulus getting priced in later? Is this a recovery? Is this another setup for as soon as the market open, we're going to see another dump all the way in the red? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Let me know in the live chat. Bull trap, stimulus getting priced in, some type of a recovery. Would love to know from you guys. So, all right. Recovery, trap. Bull trap, pump and dump. How do I support you? Brian, you can support me by joining the Patreon. So again, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. So it's a trap, bull trap, I think it's a trap. Too early to tell. I like that, Kevin. That's very, very reasonable. It's too early to tell right now. Recovery, green, not positive, but I hope. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. You know, because if you go over to the VIX, something actually we've broken down, and I know this can be a little bit repetitive because we just broke down last night, but this stuff is important, right? This is why we go over these things to understand where the market could potentially be headed. And right now, let's take a look at the VIX. Right, it's open and it's up over 5%, returning as high as 25.9. This is the chart for the VIX. March 2020 global pandemic. Since then, this right here has been the resistance at close to at close to 40 levels. So we have consistently just gone rejected at that level, and this right here has been a support at close to 20. So, you know, I personally do see a retest of 40. That's going to lead to the S&P and the Nasdaq dropping as well. So if that's the case, then this could suggest that we are seeing some type of a bull trap. But, you know, the volume is there. There's a lot of volume coming in. It's not like this is going up based off of a lot of smaller volume like what we saw like earlier. So you'll notice 1,000 shares, 7,000 shares, you know, 10,000 shares, 2,000 shares of SPY, 7,000 shares. So a lot of volume coming in after like 7:45 a.m., 7:50 a.m. So we saw a massive spike, and a lot of volume kind of stepped in on the SPY and the QQQs. So that kind of leads me to believe, and even on Friday we saw like a massive push higher. So on a 30-minute chart, you know, you'll notice that we were selling off all the way down here, and this is off of after some type of a consolidation, right? So for the SPY, 370, 375, so kind of like here, we saw like a double bottom almost after a series of lower highs and lower lows. So just lower highs, lower lows, selling off. And this right here was also a retest of that level going back as far as January 29th and February. So, you know, we all have reason to believe that why we wouldn't see some type of a recovery from here, because the S&P with energy financials up, you know, it was down a little bit close to 6%. It should be in the description down below. Camille, yes, a trap basically means that, you know, it's pretty much a fake out. It can basically go away and the markets can drop again. And it's kind of like a way for luring in people that think that the markets are pushing higher, but then it's a trap and then the markets drop again. But if we really need to understand the breadth of the markets, the strength of the markets, and how much volume we're seeing behind this move. All right, so we got about 8 minutes left for the markets to open. So we're going to set up some charts here and go over the markets on the 5-minute chart. So we're going to quickly do that. So comment down below if there's any stocks you guys want me to add to these 4 charts, and we'll create another 4 charts to the next one. So what charts are we going to have? Top left. All right, so we've got all right, let's take a look at Palantir here on the 5-minute. So we're gonna put the 5-minute Palantir here. We're gonna put Tesla on top right. We'll put NIO on bottom left. So this is gonna be NIO right here on the 5-minute chart. So we're down about 2% right now, pre-market. Tesla is going to be this right here with a massive amount of volume coming in. So NIO and Tesla we already have. And we also have Palantir over here. And then we'll put, let's take a look. We'll put Riot, because a lot of people want Riot as well. We'll put the 5-minute chart. So Riot's going to be down here, up over 5%. Tesla also slightly in the green. We've got Palantir over here, down about 4 basis points. NIO is pulling back once again, down about 2.5% as of the time of this video. And then we'll also put another chart. We'll put the 5 minutes on here. And so we'll put Nvidia here. We'll put AMD. Let's take a look. So 5 minute. So Apple, do we have Apple? All right, so we can add Apple over here. So bottom left, we've got Apple. And then we'll add, let's take a look. So let's add Square. Square's been beaten down quite a bit too. I mean, it was trading under $200 on Friday. But we are seeing a lot of buying pressure come in for Square as well. All right, so we are ready. We got about 5 minutes left for the markets to open. I hope you guys are excited. The SPY and QQQs are in the green, or not Qs, but Qs are still recovering a little bit. SPY is up over 18 basis points, and the Qs are down just about 25 basis points. So this right here is going to be the broader markets. So let's go over to the 5 minute chart for the S&P as well. And we've got a lot of stocks on watch. So let me give you guys a quick rundown. So this right here, the Qs and the SPYs. This right here, different sector breakdowns, right? All these select sector for the S&P 500. We've got Nvidia top left, AMD top right, Square bottom right, and then Apple bottom left. And we've got NIO top left, Palantir top left. We've got Tesla top right. We've got NIO bottom left, and then we got Riot bottom right. So we've got 8 stocks on watch, and then we're going to be watching the broader markets as well. I'll switch between Webull as well to get a better feel for the entire market and where all these different stocks are trading as well that we're not necessarily watching right now. Microsoft is down about 35, 37 basis points. It has been kind of up there, right? It hasn't been selling off as big tech's been selling off. Scared. All right, so all right. Let's see if there's anything going on here. All right, so we'll see. We'll see what happens if this is a fake out or if this is actually some type of consolidation, stabilization for the markets. Very, very excited. The yield is still pushing higher. We've got gold down about 33 basis points, under $1,700 per ounce. And then we've got US oil also kind of pulling back a little bit. Can't wait to see the losses. Les, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Again, thank you so much for joining in, and thanks for the donation. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if the connection actually breaks with the yields and the S&P and the Nasdaq. That's going to be really, really interesting because, you know, like we talked about in my previous videos, at some point the valuations are going to come into play, and just like they were overvalued and overheated, they are going to eventually become very, very interesting and appealing to investors once again. So we got less than 2 minutes for the markets to open. Apple down about 43 basis points. Nvidia slightly in the green. AMD down about 45 basis points as well. Square now up close to 0.5%. We've got Tesla up almost 1%. Palantir down 63 basis points. We've got NIO down about 1.7%. So it's kind of stabilizing in my opinion. Riot is up over 5%, so it's good. We're seeing some type of stabilization, so to speak, and consolidation. We'll see if that actually holds up, or if we're gonna see absolute bloodbath once again. It's all gonna depend on how the markets open. So less than 1 minute for the markets. I'm sure we have touched the bottom on Friday. Yeah, Mohit, I mean, it's going to be interesting for us to see. I also had a pretty gut feeling. I know I've mentioned cautiously optimistic. That's the word that I've used, is because my gut tells me that we are potentially on some type of recovery, because Friday's volume, again, was a bit unusual to myself. It was, I was live on Friday as well, and we saw that entire move from lows to new high of day, and then potentially closing the day on greens. So that was very, very interesting to me as well. We'll see if there's any more sales, or if there are new all-time highs. So let's see a Cyber Monday sale. Yes, let's do it. All right, guys, 30 seconds. Let's see how the markets do. The Q is almost in the green territory. Down about 15 basis points. New week, and let's see how this week turns out from the market's perspective. I would prefer for the markets to pull back a little bit pre-market. As soon as the market's open. So again, this is going to be the 1 minute chart, and this is also going to be the 1 minute chart for the SPY and for the Qs. So I hope you guys can see the shade, right? So there's going to be a yellow shaded area in the back, yellow shaded area that's like pre-market, and when it turns black, that's going to be the actual open. So there we go. We are seeing some type of a push higher. The Q is down about 18 basis points, and the SPY is trying to stay in the green, up over 28. There we go. There's the selling. Let's take a look at Square and all these different stocks. So Nvidia pulling back. Let's go over to the 1 minute chart for them. AMD also selling off. Apple also pulling back, down about 1%. And then we've got Square over here. So that's good. I prefer actually during market opens, I prefer to see some red candles in the beginning, at least for the first 5-10 minutes, pullbacks, and then potentially see like consolidation and then pushing higher. Breakout over VWAPs is a very, very strong move for the markets. So NIO down about 2%, trading as low as 37. And then Riot also kind of struggling there. Tesla, 603 is the high of day. We'll see if those levels get retested. Right now we are seeing a lot of weakness. So Tesla definitely selling off, making low of days right now, 595. Ooh, look at that, the Qs and the S&P. So everything turned really red very, very quickly, right? So Apple down about 1.5%, Lemonade down over 1%, Palantir down over close to 2%. We got NIO down over 2.7%, almost 3%. Let's take a look at Nvidia, AMD down both in the red. Shopify down, Microsoft, Tesla, Square, ARKG, Fiverr, Netflix. Amazon is holding up a little bit, but that's good. It's the first 3 minutes into the open. So energy is still up, close to 0.5%, and pretty substantial lead for the financials and energy as well. So we'll see, after the first 5 minutes, what actually happens. Let me bring out the VWAPs. Tesla trading as low as 590 now. NIO kind of holding up. NIO is holding up above $36, $37, and Riot is selling off as well, and so is Palantir and Tesla. So this right here are going to be VWAPs. Again, we are selling off aggressively. Let's see if 306 kind of gets validated. That's the pre-market low. So for Qs, let's watch 306. That's the support. And then for the S&P, let's watch this resistance at 383, at least pre-market. We are seeing a lot of weakness once again from the broader markets. Looks like we are going to break down. So all these stocks, let's take a look. Look at Square. Wow. Down over 2% now, trading as low as 211. We've got Apple also down close to 1.8%. Nvidia, AMD's trying to stay up there, but Nvidia is down over 1.7. Palantir down over 2. Tesla down over 1.5. We've got Riot giving up on all those gains. We got NIO down over 4. So let's take a look. So change, we're going to bring up over here. So let's take a look at what's in green. GameStop and AMC are in green, 11%, 4% each. Southwest, Delta Airlines, Wells Fargo, American Airlines, so airlines. Tourism, Corsair is up a little bit, but then financials are up, but everything else is in the red. Even energy, like Chevron and Exxon, are in the red as well. ExxonMobil is slightly in the red, and then everything else, Zoom Video, Palantir, Lemonade, Enphase, NIO, AI, they're all in the red as well moving forward. So yeah, a lot of weakness coming in as soon as the market's open, right? For the Qs and for the SPY. The SPY is just selling off aggressively. I mean, there was a time where Q was trying to stay up a little bit, but Qs are down 1%, and then SPY is down about 16 basis points. So Nvidia down. Let's listen here.
It progresses.
Yeah, so John, we've continued to lean into the U.S. as far as playing cyclicality. And if we look at economic growth prospects globally, the U.S. is clearly emerging as far as an accelerating economic growth backdrop. We're seeing the steepening of the yield curve play out, unprecedented fiscal stimulus in the pipeline, earnings blowing out expectations. All of these things have been really supportive of this rotation into cyclicality. So we're playing that through an overweight to areas like U.S. mid-cap equities. We're looking at it through the lens of industrials in the U.S. that we think should be a huge beneficiary from this increased level of fiscal stimulus here. So adding to that part of a portfolio, I think, is important. It doesn't mean that we want to fully, sort of give up on the quality story and the growth story. We talked about this unprecedented stimulus. It's probably never going to be this good again in our lifetime. So we need to think about having an allocation there, not fighting it, but also recognizing that stimulus may fade as we head into the back half of 2021.
I've found the last 12 months really humbling. And Jill, one of the struggles that I've had is just how quickly things have moved. And when Emily talks about things changing again at the back end of the year, I really struggle to keep up on where on earth we are in this cycle right now. Jill, where are we?
Yeah, it's a great question. We've tried to track different macroeconomic inputs to put them together into an indicator to figure out where we are in the cycle. And what that indicator is telling us is that, we just moved from the big, early cycle recovery bounce off the bottom to more of a mid-cycle environment where the recovery is still occurring, but at a slower pace. And, we found pretty consistent performance based on different styles, depending on, what regime of the cycle that you're in. And in this mid-cycle phase, you do see some consistent patterns relative to what you saw early cycle, where small cap stocks and value stocks should continue to lead. And even though we wouldn't expect, the same magnitude of gains for small caps that we saw over the last year.
So we're seeing some type of recovery from the broader markets. The S&P now up over 12 basis points, so we are in the green. Q's also pushing higher, down about 64 basis points. So again, it would be nice if we see some type of a smaller pullback, close to 0.5%, close to 1%. That's okay. That leads to more stabilization, more consolidation. But look at that pop, right? And again, usually when we pull back, as soon as the market's open, I'm more comfortable in the first 5 minutes, maybe 7 minutes for the markets to drop. And then if we do break out over the middle VWAP, so that right there is going to be the middle band, that's going to be in yellow, that usually does represent some type of upward bias in the breakout over that level. But we'll see if that level actually holds up, right? That's the most important thing. If that support holds up for the S&P, for the Qs, and if you do see some more upward momentum, creating high of day is another really, really strong level, like potentially results in more buying momentum for those indices. And the S&P is almost there. Like, it needs to break out over 384.79 to make a new high of day, and for the Qs to break out over 308.33 to make a new high of day as well. So again, that's going to be really, really interesting for us to see if actually that happens. I'm guessing all these stocks are also bouncing up higher. So look at that. Square, Tesla now up, or this is AMD now down about just 75. Apple kind of struggling, consolidating sideways. Nvidia pushing higher. This right here, Riot giving us those gains back in. Or look at that, NIO. NIO finally went positive. So that's good. And then Tesla also pushing higher, up over $604, right? Very, very important levels to watch for these two stocks. 38.50, that's going to be the level that NIO needs to break out of. And Tesla, look at that, 600 needs to hold. It needs to hold above 600. That's the level we're going to be watching. And then we've got Palantir that needs to break out over $25. It just seems to be struggling at that level. But NIO, look at that, 30 at 38, 30 at 40. We are pushing higher for that. And then so SPY just broke out over high of day. That's a good sign of a recovery. And then Q also broke out over 308 or not. Actually, did it? 308.29 and 308.33. So we're still a little bit off the high of days. But S&P absolutely getting bought up like crazy. And then let's take a look at which sector. So XLE energy is up over 1%. Financial is up close to. Let's take a look at on the day. So this is March 8th, right? It's coming from January 4th, so we'll just keep that as is. But AMD getting bought up a little bit, up over 23 basis points. Apple kind of curling back up. So yeah, I mean, this is the power of our live stream. I'm not going to bed. I'm going to be live till the markets hit a new all-time high. How about that? That's going to be a long time. NIO is a warrior. But NIO, honestly, there was so much negative. Oh, look at that Palantir with the pop up over $24 now. Tesla up over 610. NIO pushing higher over 38.40. And then Riot also pushing higher. What is another stock that you cannot sleep? So what is another stock that you guys want me to add? I'm going to switch over from Riot to something else. Is there any other stock that you guys want me to add to the bottom right? Kevin, yeah, that's right. I'm going to be seeing like these illusions. All right, let's add. Nvidia we already have. Let's put ARKK. Let's take a look at how they're doing, because they've been kind of struggling too. So they're up over 45 basis points. So Apple pushing higher a little bit. Look at AMD, now up 42 basis points, pushing higher with a massive type of a recovery. Square also pushing higher, up over 1%. And Nvidia also higher, not green on the day yet, but we'll see if that actually. But look at the SPYs, up over 0.5%, coming in from energy and financials. We've got the Qs also making high of day, so that's good. You know, that's really good. We broke out the middle VWAP after having a morning pullback. We broke out over the middle VWAP as well. So all it needs to do is consolidate. We need to stabilize the prices. The bulls and the buyers need to kind of step in and kind of stabilize the markets. Nasdaq has already corrected over 12%, and the S&P also was not a correction, so to speak, but it was a little bit over 6% of a pullback. So we'll see if those levels continue to get validated, if they hold up, or if we do see any type of a pullback and correction as well. So Tesla 611, Palantir over 24.18, NIO 38.81, so it's up almost 1.7%, and then ARC is up 60 basis points. It's kind of hard to say if it's a trap or not, but in my opinion, you know, bull trap usually occurs when we are in a downtrending pattern, so when we are making lower highs and lower lows, and then you see that minor push higher to recovery, and then it drops even further to making lower lows, right? Right now, it's a little bit different intraday, because all these stocks broke out high of days. So in my strong opinion, the probability for us to see like a bull trap is less than for us to see some type of a recovery. But again, I could be wrong. But to give you guys a very simple example, you know, bull traps, usually when we are making lower highs, this right here, I don't know what's wrong with that pattern, but usually when we see lower highs and lower lows, so when we are making lower highs and lower lows, this right here, when we push higher, is usually seen as like a bull trap because we end up making lower lows once again. We sell off further, we push up, we see some type of a recovery. Again, this right here, people can often see that as a bull trap, and then we end up selling off even more, so making lower highs and lower lows. But the pattern needs to shift. We need to start making higher highs and higher lows for it to switch that trend and the direction for us to basically, now we're seeing some type of a consolidation for the S&P, right? We're struggling at 385. Look where we're struggling at, and look where the Qs are struggling at 309. So if I were to bring out the chart from here, so SPYs, that's going to be the level that we are watching on the 4 hour, although we are breaking out a little bit at 385. So that's going to be really, really important, you guys, because right now we are trading inside this downtrending channel, making lower highs, lower lows. If we break out over this level, that's going to be really important. So intraday, we need to make sure that we close above 385, and then for the Qs, we're struggling at 309, $310, kind of like at that level. So that's going to be really, really important for us to see if we do see a breakout over that level or not. All right, let's take a look at NIO, up over $39 now, up over 2%. Tesla made new highs of 620. So, all right, I'm going to create a notepad really quickly, just like we always do. All right, so we're going to map out some support levels that we need to watch intraday for all these stocks as well. Tom, I will cover QuantumScape for you. Just for you, I will cover QuantumScape because you've messaged about that like a million times. All right. For QuantumScape, I think we do have an analysis on it. Watch that support. Watch that support at close to 38.85 intraday. Just watch that support today. I don't think we're gonna see, or close to $40. That's gonna be the level to watch in terms of support validated here, multiple validations here. We are seeing a lot of consolidation sideways. The R-side trading as low as 43. You know, I could see some consolidation once again, and then eventually a breakout over these moving averages, which is going to be really, really important for QuantumScape. So resistance at close to $48, because that's where the moving averages are. That's where the previous resistance is. Previous resistance. Yes, I should change the title of this video because we are pushing higher. We are getting bought up, but that's just a lot of these live streams have went, right? Every time I've gone live, we've seen the markets go up, right? We've seen the markets push higher. So, all right, let's take a look at the Qs. We're down. So, yeah, we were consolidating a little bit at 385 for the Qs. So, again, going over to the QQQ ETF, we're struggling at 308, $309, right? So, you guys can see that very, very clearly. Let's go to the 30-minute time frame. So, again, we have been struggling at that level, and you guys will notice $309 is the resistance that we need to break out of. We'll see if actually the QQQs break out of that level or if we see any type of a pullback. Even if we do see a pullback, it's good, it's healthy because we're seeing consolidation, right? We're seeing signs of consolidation. This right here is going to be the SPY getting rejected at that level, so exactly at 385. We're trading exactly at 385 right now, so that's going to be validated from this lower high and lower low pattern. So again, we've been trading inside this lower high and lower low pattern. Let's take a look. So boom, right here. So we're trading here, we're trading here, we're trading here, just trading inside that channel. So that right there is going to be the arrows, and right now we are kind of fighting that resistance, right? So actually, let me go ahead and remove all these moving averages. All right, so now you guys can see it clearly, right? That's the downtrending channel. We're retesting that lower high and this previous resistance. So why is 385 such an important resistance for the SPY? Let me see if you guys can comment that on the live chat. Why is $385 such an important resistance for the SPY that we need to watch? Let me know in the comments down in the live chat. Why do you guys think 385 is such an important resistance for the S&P 500 ETF? Right, so right at that level. Mohit, you're absolutely right. That's what we need to be pleased with, is not a big sell-off or a buying pressure. That's what we want, is some type of stabilization and some consolidation sideways. So why is 385 so important, guys, for the S&P 500? Ticker symbol SPY. This is the level we're watching as a resistance. We got rejected somewhat at 386, so 385.30, call it 385.50. So previous resistance, yes. So you guys are right. So that right there, previous resistance, double top. So we got rejected at this very level. That's going to be the red line you guys see here. And it's also, yes, so got rejected at that level. And it's also kind of like this lower high and lower low pattern. It's also forming inside this lower high, right? That's going to be, so when we have two resistance level kind of intersect together, and you'll notice that both of them kind of sit perfectly together right here, that creates a lot of supply and a lot of rejection for the S&P. So $380 is going to be the support, and 385 is the intraday resistance that the S&P needs to break out of. So again, support at 385, 380, and resistance at 385. So I'm just going to put these, S is going to be support and R is going to be resistance for those. And QQQ, let's take a look at Qs. 309 is going to be the resistance. We got rejected almost at that level, and now we're down back again, right? So boom, we're breaking down, we're coming down. The SPY is still kind of hovering over that middle VWAP. The Qs just broke down, so we'll see if that actually, now the most important thing is for the broader markets or the ETF to either make a higher low, or if we're going to make a lower low, right? Do the bears have enough power to push us down to break below the low of day? Or if we're going to make some type of a higher low, right? That the easy example is if the Qs are going to make some type of a higher low here, or if we're going to come down to maybe retest 304, 300, maybe those levels. Qs has a support at 297 and then a resistance at 309. Let's take a look at the market here. So NIO pulling back a little bit, trading as low as $38. Tesla also pulling back, still kind of above $600. So that's going to be the level to watch for Tesla at 600. And we've got Palantir getting struggled at 24.58. And then we've got ARKK also down about 1%. Let's take a look at the Eevee market. We kind of have like a mixed XPeng up over 3% after the earnings, Workhorse up, Li Auto up, Tesla, Hyliion up, NIO still kind of struggling a little bit. CCIV down over 1.8%. That's the only stock that's down more than the others. Let's take a look at the markets here. We got like a mixed bag. Mostly it's like tourism, travel, banks, like financials. Amazon is pushing higher a little bit. So Amazon is up close to 74 basis points. And then everything else, Microsoft is down. AMD is now down again. Lemonade, Apple is down over 2%. Wow. So Apple is really selling off, right? So Apple should be over here. So Apple making lower highs, lower lows here. Square's trying to stay up there. AMD is also trying to stay up there as well. Let's pull up Nvidia here. Alright, so we are seeing a validation of that middle VWAP for the SPY, and we are seeing some type of a higher low for the Qs as well. Thomas, dead cat bounce today and following days further down. It's a tricky question, and something that we have addressed a lot of times. And we are still in this downtrending channel, meaning that we haven't broken out of these moving averages for some of these stocks or for the broader markets in general. Which is why you can make an argument that yes, this is a dead cat bounce. If you go over to the daily chart, we're still kind of struggling. We're still below the moving averages. We're making lower highs and lower lows. But what we really need moving forward is consolidation, right? I personally have a gut feeling that we're not going to see lower lows for the Nasdaq, because 297, 295, like when it was down a little bit over 12%, that was a pretty healthy correction for the Nasdaq, right? We were down 12% from the highs, which is normal. We've seen those corrections and those pullbacks in the past as well. And for the SPY, it was down a little bit less than that because of the energy and financials, and we're already breaking out of those moving averages, right? The 21 EMA and the 50 EMA. So we have reason to believe why these two, especially the S&P, would be headed for hitting new all-time highs once again with the push that we're seeing with energy and financials. And if tech continues to push up higher as well, we could see some more momentum for the markets as well. So Nvidia has been on a complete. Actually, that's not that's 5-minute chart. Apple is the one that's actually really selling off, and regardless of where Apple's trading, makes up about 10% of the S&P. It's still pushing higher. The S&P is still pushing higher, but now we're seeing a pullback. So now we're seeing a little bit of a pullback, right, for the Qs and the S&P. So look at that. That's a pretty big red candle there. And there could be weakness coming in. So there is weakness from a price action standpoint because we just formed some type of a lower high for the SPY and the QQQ ETF. So if we make low of day, then that, yes, is going to be a very, very cause for concern. But again, keep a close eye at those support levels for both of those ETFs, right? Support at 380 and for the Nasdaq ETF, that's going to be sitting at close to 297. Yes, Dow's been the one that's been outperforming the entire market. It's just like markets are taking a huge drop, and then the Dow is just going to straight up be green every single day, like almost every day. It's crazy. So energy just turned red. That's interesting. Down about 17 basis points. So Apple again selling off. Wayfair is up over 7%, AMC up over 5.9%, PubMatic up over 3%. We've got Southwest, Unity Software, Arcturus, we've got Nordstrom, TJX, Etsy, all in the green. Corsairs finally in the green as well. ChargePoint up over 2%. Delta 1.75%, Enphase up close to 1%. Costco, Shift Technologies ahead of earnings up over 75 basis points. Let's take a look at the companies that are in the red. Palantir now in the red about 8 basis points. Twitter kind of hovering right in the middle. And then we got Tesla. So Tesla at 594, so we are pulling back below $600 once again. Square down in the red. Carnival, Uber, PayPal, Facebook, AMD, Micron, Snowflake, NIO, Nvidia, Alibaba, Microvision, Apple down over 2.5 now, and then Microvision also down 2.89. Yes, so we are seeing a lot of weakness for the broader markets, especially right now with this pullback intraday. Let's take a look at the volatility. So the VIX is up close to 5%, trading as high as 26. And 40 is kind of like the resistance level that I have for the volatility on the S&P 500, right? Red is the new black. Apple really struggling with these lower highs and lower lows. I mean, 117 is a support, but it's just struggling at 120, 121-ish level. All right, let's take a look at how many people we have watching. Again, thank you so much, you guys, for joining in. I really appreciate that. Make sure that you drop a like. Let's see if we can get to at least 700 likes on this live stream. Let's take a look at if there's anything interesting going on Bloomberg. Talking about OPEC, looks like.
Because we're continuing the theme from last week, which is the tech pain yield gain, but we're moderating that just a touch. The Nasdaq is still off by 0.6%. Financials leading the way within the S&P, but we're definitely off the lows of the future session in particular. Yields also pushing a little bit higher, but nowhere near like the 8 to 10 basis points that we might have seen, and we're still under 1.6. The dollar index gaining today, but again off the highs of the session. Brent down now 1% after being over 70 for a hot second on some geopolitical issues, so the ramifications there. A couple things to watch out for. The ECB obviously later on this week, guy, but I'm also watching. We get a lot of issuance here in the Treasury market, 3/10s and 30s. It's going to be sloppy. I think the question becomes how sloppy it's going to be. There are a lot of short positions in the bond market right now.
Absolutely, and we all remember that 7-year that went so badly, 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
Data out of the United States continues. The inventory rebuild has certainly been something that we've been keeping an eye on. Wholesale inventories, this is the month-on-month change, bang in line with estimates, bang in line with the previous number, 1.3%. That's a build on last month. But wholesale trade sales, month-on-month, prior number 1.2 revised up to 1.9, but I'm burying the lead here. This month's number coming in at 4.9%. The survey there, 0.9. So Alex, another piece of strong data.
Another piece, and we continue to get them here in the U.S. off that good jobs number. Adding fuel to that fire, President Joe Biden's on the cusp of his first legislative win. His $1.9 trillion relief package is expected to sail through the House of Representatives when it takes up the bill tomorrow. This will be the second biggest economic stimulus in U.S. history. Joining us now, Emily Wilkins, Bloomberg government congressional reporter. Emily, what's in it? What's next?
So this bill contains a number of big priorities for President Biden. Those $1,400 checks to Americans that are expected to be sent out soon after Biden signs the bill. Supplemental unemployment insurance is going to continue. They do seem to going to be making the deadline that they imposed for themselves on March 14th. They've got a bunch of stuff in here. Funding for state and local governments, funding for vaccines, funding for schools, for children, child tax care credits. So there's a lot of stuff packed into this legislation, but it's going to move through with basically no Republican support. We haven't seen a Republican support this bill yet. We have no reason to believe that we're going to see any sort of Republican support when this goes back to the House tomorrow.
Absolutely. I think it's been harder for the Democrats to get this done than they anticipated, but nevertheless, it is done. Emily, thank you very much indeed. Emily Wilkins of Bloomberg Government. We greatly appreciate the input. Let's talk about the macroeconomic implications of all of this. Ellen Zettner, Morgan Stanley's chief U.S. economist, joining us now. Ellen, thanks for the time today. We always appreciate it. Look, you're at 6.5% GDP this year. The Fed's at 4.2. Is the risk to the upside or the downside on your number, given the fact that it looks like the stimulus package goes through, kind of in line with where Biden said it would?
Yeah, so I think let's put it in Q4 over Q4 terms so we can compare it directly to the Fed's numbers. So on a Q4 over Q4 basis, that 6.5% growth forecast for this year that you cite is actually 7.6%. Wow. And that compares to the 4.2% for the Fed. So we're already well above consensus, well above the Fed. I think largely what was passed in this bill is in line with what we had built into those forecasts. And I would just point out that, you notice that, the market had been expecting around that $1.5 trillion, but 1.9 trillion didn't get too much of a market reaction. Well, it's because 1.2 trillion of it is actually spent this year. So when you think about the parts of the bill that are front-loaded, that impact the economy up front, they're about in line with expectations, but certainly nothing but positive for the economic outlook. And we're going to see the Fed sharply revise higher those growth numbers at their March FOMC meeting coming up.
Ellen, I feel like there are two schools of thought about who's going to spend it.
So tomorrow is when it can potentially get signed into law, and then of course 1,400 checks is going to be huge for the markets and the economy. Second biggest package that we're going to potentially see in the U.S. history. The S&P pushing higher because of financials, even though energy is down a little bit over 8 basis points. I think financials are up. So let me take a look at XLF. That's going to be the select sector financials index, and we're up close to 1%. So that's what's driving it higher because of the 10-year yields up close to over 2%. To give you guys a very quick update on the markets as well, NIO is now down in the red territory, trading as low as 37.18, down about over 2%. Tesla also in the red, trading below 600, and then we've got ARKK down over $115, down about 1.5%. Palantir is trying to stay up there, $23 acting as a support here as soon as the market opens. So $22.50 is the support we're watching for Palantir. And then we've got Nvidia, AMD. Apple is just making lower highs and lower lows, trading as low as 118. Square also kind of struggling, AMD struggling, Nvidia selling off aggressively, down over 2%. And then we've got the Qs and the SPY struggling as well. So let's take a look at what's keeping the Qs and the SPY up there if Apple is selling off, right? So we've got, of course, GME up over 10%, Nano Dimensions up over 8%. We've got Plug Power up over 3%, Corsair up over 2.8%. Amazon is up over 0.5%. Let's take a look at Finviz. So I think all the other sectors are pretty much in the green except for Apple that's down, and then Microsoft is down a little bit. But semis are up, semis are down a little bit as well. So semiconductors, again with the global chip shortage. But Apple is the biggest loser today, down over 2%. I don't know if there's any news. So let me see if there's any news in the past 24 hours for Apple. This is obviously not new news. I mean, this is something that we have covered in the past as well, right? That So those trillion-dollar stocks were huge parking lots for capital last year. All investors from retail to institutional understood the business models, and for that brief shining moment, they were right place to be. These rotations, when they happen, they are not necessarily sensible. Tesla will still do fine, but people are saying they have to be somewhere else. Apple is a great company with great management, and maybe you make 10% on Apple in the next year, but how about 30% in energy? The selling of the market's biggest winners is an indirect effect of confidence in the economic recovery and what kinds of companies will show the best upside earnings surprise in the next 12 months. That supports financials is now through its 5-year high. When we think of small caps as a whole, represented by Russell 2000, have run too far too fast in Q4 2020 to see great short-term value in the broad index bet. When we see XYZ company beat estimates by 50%, it won't be Tesla or Apple. The surprises will come from small cap energy or banks, small banks, even small industrials. We will see it in airlines and maybe hotels, though not right away. Interesting. All right, so we are pushing higher a little bit. SPY up over 45 basis points in the green. Qs are also pushing up a little bit. Palantir is back in the green, up over 75. Tesla back over 600. NIO almost above $38 per share. And then we had, which stock do we have over here, top left? And right up over 5% as well. Chin, the financials will be a recovery play because of the rising yields, because a lot of their debt products are kind of priced in against the yields, right? So the mortgages, the business loans, the credit lines, everything that they issue. Iggy, thank you so much for dropping that like button. Really appreciate that. We covered XPeng. That was the first stock that we covered. We wrote down the earnings as well. So you're more than welcome to watch that. And then Apple is seeing some type of a recovery, down about 2%. And then Square is also consolidating sideways, and so is AMD, and so is NVIDIA. So we'll see how that everything plays out. Guys, I gotta unfortunately run. So I'm gonna potentially end the live stream here, but I'll maybe do another live stream very, very soon. But thank you so much for joining in. Again, if you want to get access to my TradingView charts, again, these charts are going to be accessible to everyone. If you want to get access to them and get access to our Discord as well, the link to the Patreon should be down in the description below. You're more than welcome to join. We have a little bit over 250 members, and once we get to 500, that's the goal. So if we can get to 500 members, I will be putting out free tutorials on TradingView, on technical analysis and fundamental analysis. So it'll be like a course style. It's going to be a proper course, but it's going to be absolutely free at no cost to anybody if you are part of our Patreon. So that's the only thing that you have to be part of it. Kathy Woods is on CNBC at 4 p.m. So that's great to know. So that maybe is something that we can cover on our daily market update. I will put that out as soon as the markets close. But right now we are seeing a lot of consolidation. So again, make sure that you drop that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel. We cover a lot of fundamental and technical analysis, go over the macro trends, talk about the economies, talk about the labor market, taxes, employment, a lot of different things. So thank you so much for joining in and spending the time with me this morning. I hope you guys have a great day and a great evening, and I hope the markets close green, or if not green, we see some type of consolidation. That's what we want. We want stable prices. We don't want any more selling pressure, but instead some consolidation sideways, so we can make some type of a recovery back to new all-time highs. So I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure to check out the links down in the description below, and as always, happy investing. Stay safe out there, and I will see you guys in the next video. All right.